Fair enough. Um, and can I have the URL for the chat? I thought something had to be fucking activated, because last time I did that, it didn't work, right? Well, no, I thought it was something else. I don't remember. Because I can get it from the stream URL, right? I don't remember.
Are you trying to get the chat thing?
That doesn't look right. Hold on, let me just try something. Let me try this. Did that work? Okay, it does work. I just think nobody said anything yet. This looks like it. Can you stream to Discord also? Yeah, because Hanatarash's art fucking looks like this on the one side. Hanatarash, yeah, I do agree, is not that great. I yeah. So I really liked the stuff I did with Naked City and the stuff he did with Otomo Yoshihide. I also don't seem to be moving.
BRB?
The fuck's going on? Okay, I guess that's working. Hey, thanks, Allison. We're repping the SHO-TARO Complex tonight.
Wait, shut the fuck up. I need to see if my thing is working. Oh, okay, yeah, it is.
You can't silence me.
I actually can. I literally can.
Are you silencing women?
True.
Are you silencing women's voices?
Okay,
right
we're
now?
getting like a doubling thing right now though, which is hold on one second.
Which is not unusual. That just means everything's working normally.
No, but I mean I usually know why it's working like that, and now we have like a different problem tonight. And I'm trying to figure out like why that is.
I personally think it's really cool that there's so many different ways for there to be audio doubling.
Yeah, OBS is like really fucking stupid. Basically what is happening right now is all of the audio coming to me through Discord is on one channel. And oh wait, I guess I'll just mute this. All right, so now we're all on one. Misato talk.
Hello.
Dogstar talk.
Hey.
All right, we should be good now, I think. Yeah. Yeah, it smells like hot dogs in here. Or like hot dog buns.
I just farted. Why? Because I got, as a as a person who
Of hot dog.
struggles with the SHO-TARO complex.
Yeah.
I constantly put hot dogs in my asses. The joke.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, it happens.
Can someone in chat tell me if Masato is quiet or if that's just me?
Sorry, is this better?
No, I just wanted someone to say something. Seems like you're fine.
Oh, do I need to bring back the old school? Oh wait, no. Masato's back. Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
And
like, you
she's
can hear me good.
well, no, I can also see you, and you're slightly gigantic.
Oh yeah, I can. Let me scale down. Let me scale down. Sorry. Let me scale down, and now my Ebisode
Okay, all right,
is
well,
extra large size.
Yeah, that's maybe like a little bit. That's like maybe like a little much, but
Is that better?
hold on. There we go. I got it. I did it.
Very nice. Okay.
Yeah, very nice.
Very nice. Also bringing up the chat.
Chat is there. Chat. We already have chat.
Oh, all right. I'll turn mine off then. Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Good job, Dogstar. Sorry, I have to be very strategic about what windows I'm opening when I have my avatar up because it cripples my computer.
Wow.
I have to be careful about what windows I open because a bunch of them have hentai on it.
Wow. All right. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go make a drink.
Apparently, me and Masato are quiet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I usually turn y'all down a lot just when we're talking. Because I generally like don't really like to hear y'all that much.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I can tell from the rate at which I'm able to finish talking about the things I want to talk about.
All right.
Go make your drink.
All right. I'll be right back.
I just my tracking cut out for a second. I did a harsh T pose real quick. I wonder if there's a way to like emulate that or like force that to happen.
Hold on. I'm looking at this quote finally about Randy Johnson hitting people with baseballs, and I got to make sure Katie is aware of this quote because.
God, I always really.
Have you talked to?
No, sorry.
I was gonna say, have you talked to Katie about baseball lately?
No, does Katie like baseball?
Yeah, fucking friend of the show, grade A individual, Katie, got really into baseball, sort of mid-pandemic. It's just like a mind-soothing thing, and will constantly send me, like quotes and images about like baseball players where you can see like where they have like really like fucking nice apses. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they do have nice apses.
Or just any quote where like there's like a really particularly autistic like pitching savant that was on some team for a while. She was telling us quotes about that. I don't know. Good stuff.
No, that's I've not talked to her about that. That's great. I do always like there's a great little clip that I'm sure you saw of that one guy throwing the ball and it just bouncing off that one guy's like juicy butt. That was a great video. Yeah, baseball players, it's kind of funny. They have like it's kind of like that I hide my power meme where like it's like the like anime or like just like manga girl like with like a baggy t-shirt and then she pulls it back and you see she has large boobs. That's like what baseball players are like in those dowdy uniforms where as soon as they just like move their body in the right way, you're like, oh man, they all have just gigantic muscular asses. A lot of them have like kind of bellies too, which is kind of funny, but like, they are athletes at the end of the day, and I mean, it's a day job. You play baseball every day, right? NFL, it's like once a week, but baseball, it's like they're playing like hundreds of games a year. It's crazy, That's a day job.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine it. A different life than mine.
Different life than mine. That's right. Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, I don't find baseball that interesting. Sometimes there's like a good play, and you're like, okay, that was like obviously cool. but I do respect baseball players for just how like fucking much they play versus practice. That's pretty impressive to me.
Wait, do they not practice that much?
No, I just mean like versus, NFL or something where it's one game a week. So proportionally.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I mean, I feel like baseball is like a much lower impact sport, and you're kind of like can't you're basically like
Fair enough.
allowed to be like a fat person and still do
yeah,
baseball. Like a lot of them
that's what I was just saying.
have like OG like peach dad shaped bodies.
Yeah, exactly. You're allowed to have like a dad bod and be like a just absolute perfect specimen of like
Yeah.
baseballsmanship. So yeah, I kind of respect it for that. I think that's pretty cool. It doesn't have like the same appeal as something like hockey or like football, where it's like incredible grace combined with just like monstrous violence.
Yeah.
That is more the type of thing that I just am viscerally drawn to.
Um yeah,
I
my
respect
my opinion about baseball is basically that it's like the sport it's a sport for nerds. Because it's basically like I imagine like all sports existing on the spectrum where like at one end is like MMA where it's just like pure violence and like very like a very low bar of kind of like rules and stuff. And it basically like the more autistic you become, it progresses like through the other sports, and then like on the other end you have cricket, where it's interminably long. There's like 100 innings or something. Like it can technically go on forever. It's really confusing. It only appeals to like British people and like Indian people, who are probably the two most like autistic races in the world, except for maybe China. Um, but
How is hold on a second? How are British people autistic?
they're very
you
autistic.
you immediately got that flag. I don't think China's autistic. They have Pangzai, who is like the champion tornado beer drinker.
That's
I don't think
true.
there's anything autistic about
I think that well, I don't know. I mean, I feel like developing like a nationwide rail infrastructure is very autistic.
Question.
And like one and like having this like weird like devotion to like being like, all right, we like we're gonna build like new like 8-lane highways across an entire province, and we're gonna build them all at once, and it's only gonna take one like 1 year
Totally
of our next like 5-year plan. But so like I don't know, maybe there's a difference
I'm going to
between
build a machine to build the machine, which is going to build pre-assembled pieces, which are going to be extended out at a unheard of
yeah. I'm going to
feet.
I'm going to build a
Just Wallace from Wallace and Gromit.
Yes, yeah, they are. They're either there's also a spectrum of that where like on one end it's like Wallace from Wallace and Gromit, and on the other end it's just like have you ever seen that one TikTok video where it's just like this like gargoyle man walking an emu down like a street in England? He's at like the other end of like the spectrum. Let me see if I can.
What I thought you'd say as the other end of the spectrum was that time that the guy like took the seagull that stole one of his crits.
Oh yeah, yeah, and
beat
just
against
beat it to
walls till
death.
it died.
Yeah.
Or the like come on England. Like,
Yeah, come on, England. Or like those Chad guys that like have obviously just been like drinking and taking MDMA all night, and then one of them
Chaps, yeah.
fails like breaking a chair over his friend's back, and then picks him up like a little baby.
Those guys. Actually, those
Um,
guys are great.
yeah,
yeah, it's one of the hottest videos I've ever seen.
It's one
Yeah.
of the hottest videos. Yeah, those guys are great.
Can I get a quick temperature check on me posting the link to this stream on my Twitter?
go
yeah,
for
go
it. Why does that? Who cares?
Well, because people are still showing up to my Twitter yelling at me.
That's fine.
Damn. Okay.
Window.
Damn. All right. I'm curious to see what Well, maybe you shouldn't actually, just because I feel like we're already on the edge of getting banned.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get flamed or anything.
Oh yeah, they probably would report us or something.
Yeah, you might want
I'll
to
do
delete that. Yeah,
That is
that was a good call checking that. Yeah. If they were just gonna come on and troll us, that would be pretty fun. But I don't want to get reported.
Yeah, we are on thin ice.
Yeah.
What are we watching? Oh, are we about to watch some children die?
No, we're just
Children fucking.
Yeah,
Hold
we gotta
on.
be careful. We say as Lol, it puts on a video of a child literally turning inside out when the inside out gas.
no, just watch this.
Springfield again.
You walking a fucking ostrich, you that cunt.
He's right. It's funny because it's true.
She's a cute, isn't she? Oh, is it? You're fucked up, you, mate. You're fucked up, you.
The like little bit of echo I hear is like making that just sound like that's Android script. It's like walking pepper flat.
He's an asshole.
And then yeah,
That guy's remarkable.
Oh,
Right? And,
and this, yeah.
Oh god, this
Did
is
you-
one of the best videos on the internet.
have you seen the game? Like Radiator Yang made a video game about this video. Like a
Picks
video
a
game
cigarette
that-
off the ground. Great
I
moment.
would love to play it. This video is like
Don't hit me head.
I'm a crotchety geezer. I'm gonna tell my grandkids that everyone was this gay back in the day, and they think they're gay, but
Look at it. Here's a YouTube video if you want to see a trailer for the video game. It's that.
This is so funny. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a fucking Caravaggio painting.
It is literally. It's like the horny La Pieta. Kiss is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so to go back to my original point, like there's like a spectrum of like like I guess like sports where like MMA is on one end where the whole point of the sport is that you literally just beat the other person to death. And then like at the other end of the spectrum is like baseball and cricket at like the most extreme where it's just entirely just sort of like really annoying, tedious rules about running around in a circle and like there's no contact whatsoever.
Or like darts or like curling.
Yeah, curling's over there. Darts is kind of cool. I mean, I don't know. There's a difference between like, you know, outdoor league sports and like I guess like there's a difference between what would be on ESPN or ESPN2 and what would be on ESPN8, which is darts or like bowling.
The Ocho.
Yeah, the Ocho.
So what about but what about a game like golf where it's like incredibly boring, but it's like only played by like people who are like on the green talking about how to like kill 100,000 people to like slightly increase their profit margins or whatever. Like
Yeah.
that's
People
like pretty
talking
brutal.
about drinking adrenochrome.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're not talking, but they're sipping adrenochrome. What they're talking about is how to get the Halliburton and Raytheon like stock prices up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that reminds me. Should I invest in Nvidia?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's
Sound off in the comment sectio.
I think it's. I'll ask you in a sec why you're asking that at this moment, since they've been on like a kind of upward trend generally for a while. Obviously, there was the crypto crash, which kind of hurt them, but generally they seem to like be a really like smart company. But I feel like I'd be a little bit hesitant. I mean, I'm just generally hesitant with this stuff, but like I think Apple has figured something out with their hybrid architecture, and like what I'm seeing with Nvidia now is like their next, like rumors are that the next series of GPUs is going to have even crazier power consumption. And I feel like it's actually a good opportunity for companies like AMD and even Intel to like hop in with graphics cards that don't use like three 2016 era GPUs worth of power for a single GPU, but provide like a good amount of performance. Like Apple's actually been really good about the power usage, which is impressive because everyone else has just been like going crazy with that. And I feel like that's kind of like Pentium 4 era where you're like going to hit a wall with that, and there's going to have to be some sort of reimagining of what's going on and all that. So I don't know. I think NVIDIA is a really good company, and they'll probably figure out more excellent ideas. At the same time, I feel like we're at a sort of necessary paradigm shift for computing architectures where there's going to be a decent amount of uncertainty and a lot of you know, opportunities for new architectures outside of what NVIDIA has already done that might be
Yeah,
So you're speaking to the death of the x86 architecture, you mean? You think the mill CPU architecture is going to finally unseat?
Yo, Millhead, someone said it.
Yeah, it's mill. I'm calling it mill.
I'm calling it
Mill
Mill.
is going
Mill
to
computing.
unseat the fucking iron fist that the x86 processor architecture has held.
Span 9 running on Mill computing.
Correct. Oh, Allison, I'm not even reading the rest of your comment. I'm just seeing something AMD, and you know that made me think of ARM. And I want to say, fools thought that ARM was going to save us from x86 64, and any continued agony from that architecture. But no, you can see that ARM architecture is just as CISC, capital C CISC, as you know, the fucking i386 ever was. I don't think that's wild to say. You know, once you start adding
a lot of
commands that do, once you start adding like basic commands into your architecture that does, you know, JavaScript tailored, you know, floating point arithmetic, then I think you fucking lost the plot on your RISC architecture.
I mean, so I think that this is like just a technical bet thing where probably ARM will balloon out of control at some point, but at the same time, ARM does have fixed length like instructions, at least on like Apple's implementation, for example, which really simplifies apparently their implementation of their scheduler. So they can do a lot more sort of super scalar, like on the fly optimizations that are just not feasible on Intel. And apparently this is part of how they achieve their performance along with the much faster like memory access on the M1. So, you know,
Well,
I
can you
agree with
switch
you,
the-
but at the same time, x86 is such a fucking disaster that it's like, you know, like ARM is still in the lead with that. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I was just asking because I was wondering, like, I was kind of thinking that like an interesting way to invest in stocks would be to pay attention to what Nancy Pelosi invests in. And I read a while back that she'd, I thought that I'd read that she'd bought a bunch of Nvidia stock, but now that I look more further into it, it looks like she actually dumped a bunch of Nvidia stock. So I will not be investing in Nvidia. But I actually also just found this whole website called HouseStockWatcher.com that's like devoted to tracking members of Congress's like stock portfolios.
Nice. Share that in the chat. That's actually probably the best way to make money on the stock market.
Yeah. Yeah. Looks like she invests a lot in Facebook, and it's kind of like what you'd expect. What is AAPL?
Apple.
Oh, Apple. Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft. Thought for a second that was for the Misfits, like the the Halloween band from the '80s, where everybody, where all the guys like pretend to be ghouls and goblins and whatnot.
Yeah, I still think Hybrid Moments is a really good song. You know.
Yeah.
So sue me.
What is? Oh, it looks like she invests in something called CRM, which I'm assuming is just crime. She invests in crime. Yeah. Oh wait, no, it's something called Salesforce Inc.
Oh, CRM, is that Krim from Interspecies Reviewers?
Yeah.
Wait, Allison, are you talking about ARM when you say very kind architecture for CodeGen? Or Mill, because you were talking about Mill a little bit earlier. And despite joking about Mill, I don't actually know. As far as I know, there's no way to actually even run any code on it. So I assume it's ARM. But if you actually know something about Mill, that would be really interesting.
If I had a friend that knew anything about Mill, if I know anyone that knows about Mill, Allison does.
Yeah,
If
that's kind
I-
of what I was assuming. But anyway, sorry, I was just curious about that. It would be very cool to have someone who knows something actually, actually knows anything about Mill. That would be pretty funny.
She was talking
Oh,
about
ARM. Okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
out a lot.
I feel
So
like I've
so
heard,
invest in ARM. Okay, I'll do that.
I feel like ARM is going to do well, but at the same time, I never know how much stuff is already priced into things. So, but anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Definitely send the link though.
It's
feel
in
like
a helipad.
Nice. That's the only way. Join the Discord if you're not already in it, and
Allison's in there.
learn what Nancy Pelosi is investing in. That'd be kind of a fun
Love you.
episode. I bet there's some incredibly disturbing things that she's invested in that would just be really funny to go through.
Oh wow! Apparently, there's a congressman named Mike Kelly. That's funny. Shout out to the artist Mike Kelly. R.I.P. All right. I'll be. Hold on one second.
Yeah. If you're wondering what this GIF is, I just opened up Twitter to tweet out a screenshot of this stream, and I had a bunch of notifications, and this is just a list of my notifications on Twitter. This person is telling me to drink bleach, and I'll probably scroll down once we're all together. Hey Katie, did you see that they were showing a quote from Randy Johnson about like throwing baseballs at intruders or whatever?
Yeah. All right. So what are we actually talking about tonight? Doc, sorry, you've come out as like pro pedo or something.
Yeah, I have.
Wow. You
What
heard
I
it
have
here
on-
first, folks.
Yeah. What I have on the screen right now, this is my I opened up Twitter to post a screenshot of the stream we're about to do, and I saw I had a bunch of notifications. So I clicked to my notifications tab, and I figured we could just like look through it. This person is telling me to drink bleach. Ego bego. So I'm just gonna say, haha. Why not? Let's see what else there is. I don't get this. Do you know what this means? I'm a bit quiet.
All right, I will turn you up even more.
Thanks.
Well, why don't you start off with this? So you started off because there's like some some academic guy did some kind of like overview of like what it's like to jerk off to Shota. Is that accurate?
Yeah. So I do have the paper in question here, saved, because that's the kind of person I am.
Paper, get down. The paper in question.
Is that strong bad? I'm Surrender?
Well, I'm just thinking of the Soldier Get Down video.
Okay. Well, there's an academic, Carl Anderson, who, for an academic journal, Qualitative Research, wrote a paper called I Am Not Alone, We Are All Alone, using masturbation as an ethnographic method in research on Shota subculture in Japan. I guess I'll read the abstract of this, and maybe a couple of, some of the start here. So, I wanted to understand how my research participants experienced sexual pleasure when reading Shota, a Japanese genre of self-published erotic comics that features young boy characters. I therefore started reading the comics in the same way as my research participants had told me that they did it, while masturbating. In this research note, I will recount how I set up an experimental method of masturbating to Shota comics, and how this participant observation of my own desire not only gave me a more embodied understanding of the topic for my research, but made me think about the loneliness and ways to combat it as driving forces of the culture of self-published erotic comics. So I had hit a wall in my research. Semi-structured interviews can only take you so far, especially when the topic is sensitive, which mine is. He then goes to talk about like the precedents of like academics writing articles about beating off or porn and stuff. So there's another kind of funny thing. Oh yeah. All right. For a period of 3 months, I would masturbate only to Shota comics. For this purpose, I would use doujinshi and commercial volumes that I have bought or been given during fieldwork in Japan. In short, I would masturbate in the same way that my research participants did it. After each masturbation section, I would write down my thoughts and feelings, a kind of critical self-reflection, in a notebook, as well as details about which material I had used, where I had done it, what time, and for how long. I would not be allowed to have any other sexual relief during this field work in my own sexuality. No regular porn, no sex with another person, no fantasies or memories. It had to be Shota every time. I happened to live alone during this experiment, and I had newly become single after a long relationship. These factors probably contributed to my willingness and eagerness to explore this method. Anyway, a while ago, I read this paper, and quite frankly, I liked it. I thought it was interesting. I, enjoyed the notion of an academic writing about, some experiment where he beat off to only Shota for 3 months.
Yeah, you actually
that's
mentioned it like 3 episodes ago or something and recommended it, the article.
I like it. Because also just, I'm a person who also just likes transgressive kind of art in general, and I think there are interesting properties to it, like uh, looking at a lot of weird, grotesque porn, like Nana, fucking whatever the person's name who did the Dojin, we be where this little brother goes to break into his sister's house because he thinks she's about to kill herself, and she is in the middle of detergent suicide, and so it's a lot of pages about him cleaning up the apartment, taking down handmade warning, dangerous gas signs, and then catching glimpses of her panties. That's the sort of thing I find really interesting, and seeing this Carl write about how he felt emotionally while reading and beating off to Shota, and talking about how it's this sort of fantasy that you project into and reflect back into your own life about. I don't know. It resonated with me. So I at one point I tweeted out some writing about that. And Carl himself retweeted it because I liked the paper. Now, if you go to Google and type in Carl Anderson, you get to see a whole lot of cool stuff. Vice wrote a really cool article called "A Researcher Jerked Off to Underage Japanese Cartoon Boys and Publishes Findings in an Academic Journal. University investigates PhD student's paper on masturbating to comics of, quote, young boys, unquote." So Daily Mail, all sorts of cool stuff.
Team masturbation.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably not real.
It's
so
kind of incredible that Vice is still a media outlet that people care about. Oh yeah, sure, go for it. I mean, I don't know. It sort of seems like they've probably. I am very surprised that anybody still. I mean, I'm not surprised that they exist because I feel like at this point they're what passes for legacy media. But I feel like anybody with a brain should realize that at this point they've kind of exhausted themselves of any kind of I don't know, clout.
Now that they're acting incredulous about a simple research paper, I mean they're basically the pearl clutching old media. So
Yeah.
they're supposed to be out there.
Yeah,
awesome.
they're supposed to be doing fentanyl whippets with this guy. like
Yeah.
at like the last functioning at like the last strip club that's like open in Donetsk or something.
While masturbating.
Yeah.
While learning about his research method firsthand.
Yeah.
All right, wait, hold on. I'm gonna get a beer. Don't say anything too funny while I'm gone. BRB.
Well, I guess I can't say this then. I guess we'll wait for him to. Nah.
You can say it. You know, you can always repeat it.
No, it doesn't. No, I'm gonna wait. We're gonna sit. We're gonna wait. Allison says they really strike me as salon for Zoomers nowadays.
Do Zoomers care about Vice? I feel like I thought that like
Really millennial.
yeah, I thought Vice would be like the only thing that people like the only demographic that Vice cares or that cares about Vice at this point would be like elder millennials that like I don't know, consider themselves like edgelords still, even though they like voted for Joe Biden in the last election.
Yeah. Anyway, now
like
that you're back,
like that Ben Ditto guy or something, or people of that ilk.
Yeah.
Whoever runs Fuck Jerry.
Misato. So now that you're back, I can say that the paper has been taken down from Sage Journals, and in one of the best punchlines of this whole thing, they have written, due to ethical concerns surrounding this article and the social harm being caused by the publication of this work, citation needed, frankly, the publishers have now agreed with the journal editors and have decided to remove this article while this investigation is ongoing in accordance with the COPE guidelines.
Wow.
COPE, ladies and gentlemen. COPE harder.
They might have to look into the Seethe agreement as well.
Oh my god.
Hey.
People keep bitching about everybody being super quiet. Everyone has turned all the fucking way up, so they need to, I don't know.
I don't know what I could possibly do.
There's nothing I can do on my end.
All right.
Yeah, episode 25, there is nothing you can do.
No, let me take a look.
If you wanna,
Input volume is now at 100%.
Yeah, all right. I'm gonna also
On my
make
side.
input. You know, the other thing is, you can actually turn it up. I always have to turn other people's volume up. Mine is at 100% as well. I always have to turn the like output volume on advanced settings in OBS, like advanced audio settings. You can like type a number in, and I'll put it up past 100 or whatever. It's not percentage, it's decibels, but I'll put it higher by like 10 decibels, 10 to 20. I find I need to do that when I'm capturing Discord audio.
All right, hold on a second. All right, I'm gonna put it at 1. Let us know if that sounds good.
Testing.
Dogstar, keep talking.
Okay. So, you might be wondering how this all led to, you know, me getting all wrapped up in this crazy mess, right?
Wait, could you actually send a link to the Vice article? Can you post that to Helipad or something?
Sure.
But keep talking while you do it.
So you might be wondering how exactly I got wrapped up in this, such that people are, you know, really yelling at me about it. And the funny thing about this is, if you go to Carl Anderson's Twitter, you get to see that yours truly happens to be the second tweet on his Twitter.
Wow.
So if you're a person who's really mad at Carl Anderson and really wants to give him a piece of your mind over Twitter, and you go to his Twitter, this one's kind of a joke, but then the second tweet is me just talking about how I liked this paper. And so, I don't know. People have just been kind of yelling at me, and
You're surprisingly good at like getting mixed up in things, and getting a lot of visibility. You're like one of the better, my better friends at that. Yeah.
It's funny that he quotes is Audre Lorde the first name or like the full name of like that lady that did that song Royals?
No. I don't know if that's a joke.
Well, it's the quote also sounds like something that could be from one of her songs. Um, but yeah, I'm just going through this article on Vice, and I'm just curious. Oh wait, no, wait, is Lord Black? Is she just like is she light skinned or something? Like like Royals Lord?
I think you are thinking about like the women's studies like critical theorist Audre Lorde.
Oh, okay. Are they different people?
Yeah, I can't tell if you're joking.
Royals is a really good song though.
That was
Yes,
Mr. Lord.
That's a bop.
pretty good. Yeah,
Lord Royals, and it'll come up. This was her. She's
yeah. This is like Audre Lorde just drank so much adrenochrome that she turned into she like kind of Michael Jackson did, but it worked better.
Wow. I also it's isn't Lord also Audre Lorde isn't also she Randy Marsh from South Park?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
What a performer.
Holy
Yeah,
shit!
what a
What's
great-
her full name? Her full name
Audre
is-
Lorde.
No, wrong. It is Ella Maria Lani Yerix O'Connor.
wow. Fucking
Why does she call herself Audre Lorde then?
imposter.
It says she was taking inspiration from aristocracy for her stage name.
Wow.
It's a really fucking funny way to write
Cool.
that.
That's really cool. I loved taking inspiration from aristocracy.
Yeah. Anyway, if you do look at the Vice article, it's like retarded because they're just like researchers from underrepresented backgrounds would never dream of writing something like this. And I just want to say, like, buddy,
Wow.
like pedophiles are pretty underrepresented, I would say.
So, I don't know. Like, it's
I
just
also
like-
thought this was like pretty retarded. Like this half Japanese woman saying, oh boy.
You have to do a voice if you're gonna quote her.
Okay. To me, it seemed like the logical outcome of centuries of Orientalist scholarship and fetishization, which is often framed as queer and infantile, has a long and deep history, as does the desire to cosplay Japaneseness. The idea that the fictional worlds of Japanese pop culture exist on a different plane of reality only exacerbates this entitlement and denial of harm. As someone who studies Western perceptions of Japan via kawaii/crudeness, and as a half Japanese woman, I am actually not surprised by the article at all. To me, it seems like the logical outcome of centuries of Orientalist scholarship and fetishization.
it is really funny how you just can always predict exactly what the content of any sentence starting with "as" is going to be
Yeah.
on Twitter.
Anyway, it's it's porn, right?
Yeah.
He's
also-
beating
it's
off to
literally-
porn.
It is literally Japanese porn. It's kind of funny to be like, this is Orient. I don't know.
Like, how are you fetishizing? Like, how dare he fetishize porn?
It's mostly, yeah, it is mostly Japanese dudes who are actually fetishizing and consuming this. So
Yeah,
I don't know, it's funny.
and it's just this is also anthropology, right? There is not a culture of Shota comics in like the Western world that I'm aware of. There is one in Japan. It seems
Not-
worth
not-
to study it.
Not with the same like. Oh, sorry.
So the really funny thing, I guess, to me, I haven't read the article or anything, but it is so funny to bring in identity politics and like
Right?
either vaguely or like directly like accuse the author of whiteness when like this is a Japanese thing.
Yeah.
This
Well-
he is the like one white dude who like. Meanwhile, in Japan, they're literally typing "whoa" on Twitter like 24/7.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's what I was gonna say. It's like
To try to like be like we're not anti white, but to try to like whatever make or like pin this as like a white obsession or something is just
Yeah, it's not.
Well-
White people demonstrably fucking hate this shit.
Yeah.
We have seen, right?
I mean, yeah, that's what I wanted to say is like I'm sure that there is like a subculture of like shit like this in the West that probably looks like crap, honestly, just because like
Yeah.
Western illustrators are not apparently like mechanically capable to like make like drawn pornography that like looks as good as Japanese pornography. But like the main cultural difference between like the West as like a broad like a cultural demographic and Japan is that like you won't be like on the subway in New York City and sitting across from like a middle-aged businessman who's just reading Shota Dojin on his way to work.
Yeah. I feel like that's something I would do, and I think the closest I've done to something like that is reading like Blood and Guts in high school.
Yeah.
The subway in New York.
Yeah, it's funny to imagine though that like Japan is such like a psychotic place because it's like funny to imagine that there could be a guy right now doing that, like literally like sitting on the subway, on his way to like a job, like just reading like Shota Dojin hentai, and as a young man, he literally was like in Manchuria, just like chopping the heads off of babies.
yeah.
Like that could be like one guy's entire like that could be like either end of like one man's lived experience in Japan. Like literally he gets like sent to like Southeast Asia to to participate in like Glorious Emperor's Rape 1000 Women's Challenge to get like a better samurai sword, and now he just reads like child pornography on like on his way to like be a janitor at like a high school.
Well, it's also just funny to me because like I feel like there's it's always the case where if you like try to talk about I guess it pull in terms of like a sort of victim race or something, where you're like making that part of their like fundamental identity versus like like because there's a lot of people who like lost and got fucked over, but they were also evil and like shitheads themselves, right? But like Japan is maybe like one of the most extreme examples of that, and they also just immediately became part of the U.S. sphere, and like
Yeah.
also never apologized for anything in World War II, unlike Germany. So it's like I think just they like it is so funny to me when people like talk about like try to put them in like the victims of imperialism camp, which is like what this article is vaguely doing, because like they just never have been and have always been like imperialist shitlords like us.
Yeah,
Just joined our
totally.
camp immediately after we beat them, and we immediately let them in, and there were no repercussions.
Yeah.
Them losing in their East Asian co-prosperity sphere, which is just awesome. It's so funny. I like also I mean just like I don't know as far as like fetishization stuff, like they love selling their anime here and like other merchandise. It's like us selling Disney there. It's like
Yeah.
capitalism. It's like really not the same. It's like I mean the only place at which appropriation stuff is like not just racist anti-misogyny type stuff is when you're talking about I guess like it's fucked up that black people invented rock and roll and then like continued to not be able to buy houses while their music was celebrated, like when you talk about it materially, that's like the only kind of I guess smart discourse I've seen or whatever, and usually even that gets turned into something really stupid that's actually just pro-capitalist. But like Japan is making boatloads of money off of exporting their culture, and they're doing really well in the sort of capitalist imperialist world that we lead, but that they are a sort of primary ally in, and like,
Yeah.
the primary ally in the entire like Eastern Hemisphere. So it's just so cool when people like have to say just the vaguest things that don't make sense even superficially to like try to like pull this thing. It's like it's just the dumbest thing you could say.
Yeah, totally. By the way, I don't want to digress too much, but have y'all seen the like clip from the Elvis movie where it's like Tom Hanks's weird fucked up Colonel Sanders character hearing Elvis for the first time and realizing that it's a white guy singing it? Have y'all seen that?
No.
No.
Dogstar, drop your window down for a second.
Dr. Dre when he heard Eminem. BGM.
Yeah, basically, Docstar, close your window for 1 second.
Yo, I have.
Oh, there we go. All right, yeah, just watch this. This is so funny.
Shall we play?
Great shot.
I love it so much. It's such a good scene in a fucking movie. Especially since it's like Tom Hanks, you know, a literal pedophile who has definitely preyed on actual children in that scene. Yeah. What else? What's up? Hello? Hello? Oh, I'm like really loud. Oh. Sorry, I muted on accident. What were y'all talking about while I was muted?
Just go to right click on audio mixer and then go to desktop audio and turn it up to like 5 decibels.
Okay.
Like by typing it in or like clicking up. You can't do it on the slider, but you can do it in the advanced audio properties.
Okay, talk now?
Hello.
Whoa, okay, all right. All right, I guess we're good now?
Yeah, people in the chat, let us know if it is not good.
Let us know if it's dog shit again.
So I don't know. You did call Shota child porn, which I wouldn't make like a nitpick about on the show usually because I don't fucking care. In a super casual setting, but seeing like a flood of people calling drawings child porn drives me nuts because like like Ichiban said, I have spent a lot of fucking berserk time on the internet in, free speech zones, like dark areas, and these things are like not the same, right? Child porn, you see a child being abused, and these are just like drawings,
Right.
right? And I really invite people to tell me if they think I'm being an idiot right now.
I mean, really much of an opinion on it. I feel like it's definitely in a different like league, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's that's very different from saying that it's like not worth like figuring out, I guess, how harmful it is, or like if
Absolutely.
I definitely think it's like great. At the same time, I don't know that I buy the idea that it like deters people from looking at the actual thing or whatever.
Oh yeah.
If anything, it definitely seems plausible to me that it would just exacerbate that, or like encourage people to think more about something that they should be trying to put out of their mind or whatever. But I mean, I don't know. I don't really have much of an opinion on it. I feel like it's very understandable to me why people would be very emotional about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I do completely agree with that.
I would also say that maybe there's like a difference between like wanting to fuck like an anime cat person and like wanting to fuck like an actual person.
Right. I think
Like I feel like they're like very different sort of like aesthetic signifiers in play that would like that like people would probably be like attracted to.
I think, yeah, exactly. I think something that is interesting about like the broader like I guess art form of like doujins and like hentai and stuff is that
a lot of it is just totally like impossible or like meant to be fantastic, you know? So like, you know, I don't necessarily think that everyone who masturbates to cat girls is like fantasizing about fucking their cat, which is a, you know, less, I think, slippery slope example or whatever. But, you know, I think that it's like, you know, it's like a fantasy world or something like that. I don't think it's necessarily, I think it's less literal than something that's actually shot sort of, you know, with real people in it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I mean, I think that that's part of what complicates it too, besides the fact that it's quote unquote like just drawn. At the same time, again, it's like I definitely get why it makes people uncomfortable.
No, totally. Here's my own conversations with Carl Anderson. Don't mind me. But I went and looked at that because I liked this as an example of like this was like someone's drawing that got taken down from like Patreon because it showed like an underage person in it, and it just seems really funny to me, right?
Well, I think there's like an interesting distinction also with like art, which is obviously stylized, where it's like, you know, you can be doing like a chibi character who's like,
yeah,
I guess in someone's headspace meant to look cute, but like definitely just be a cute representation of like an adult, for example. And then when you have that, it's like that's like a different headspace, regardless of what the art is. But then it's like on the other end, there's like obviously also cases where it's like, oh no, she's a 300-year-old dragon, and it's like, you know, you kind of, you know what I mean? It's like it's all over the place, sort of, and it's. I think part of what's like really uncomfortable about it is that like because it's not a literal like photograph or something, it's like you have to put that stuff into your like audience's head, like you have to like defer, I guess, interpretation to the audience, you know, and then that then makes it somehow a lot scarier what they could be thinking, right? And
but
then,
it also makes it a lot more, as opposed to what, like scarier than what?
well, just then if it was like not ambiguous, you know. I just mean like
Yeah.
it makes everything more muddled because a large part of it is up to the interpretation of the audience because there's no actual event that occurred that's being like documented, you know. Like you
I
can't
guess
actually happen, so it's like I feel like that encourages you to, or at least a lot of people, to like look at it and just be like, well, you know, this could be interpreted this way. And I mean, I don't know. It's like, I mean, it's. I think it's like a broader thing too, where it's like so much of the anime style is like kind of accentuating like sort of childlike sort of aspects of people's faces and stuff. But then that applies also to like full on adults. So then it's like, you know, is that like that? I'm not saying any of this is specifically like my kind of point on it or whatever, but I think it's like it's not exactly resolved. I think whether it's like is that like because there's no answer. I'm not saying that my opinion is that I just don't think there actually is an answer, and I think this is part of why people argue about it. Like, is like fetishizing childlike qualities, or is this drawing out appealing qualities that are kind of childlike, but we like to see these childlike qualities in adults? And I think there's there's examples of that where it's like obviously anyone would say like, oh, you like to see your, like everyone likes it when their like partner seems cute, right? Like, or most people probably do. But then when it's like kind of mixed up in this thing and there's no definitive answer, it's not just like, here's an actual photograph of my like adult girlfriend looking cute. It's like, here's an anime drawing where her eyes and head are bigger than usual. Is that like, it's like, yeah, that is like an artistic license, like taking artistic license to like, which you could correctly say is looking more like a child, but at the same time, it's also like, this is like, just a representation that's meant to accentuate things that we think are cute about a person, which like most people would say is not objectionable, right, to do. So it's like, I get why people are uncomfortable about it. It totally makes sense because I don't think there's like,
Absolutely.
right.
I think I do want to say that I totally understand why this makes people uncomfortable, right? Like it makes infinite sense. I think it's like really natural to see this and be like, "Oh shit." Right? And I think the thing that I specifically object to is like in this tweet, it really upset me that they said they are saying fantasy child sexual abuse material because in my own life, I was just around so many people that would call lolicon and Shota child porn that, like, you'd need an actual term for child porn. And so I was starting to say CSAM, and now these people are also saying CSAM, and it's just like an arms race. Like, what am I supposed to do? And like Allison said, I feel like a lot of people haven't read this stuff and, like, don't know what it's like. So here's an example. Here's just, like, two boys getting it on. They're not all about, like, adults being fucked. Or adults fucking kids, right? Sometimes it's kids fucking other kids, right? I don't think that's sexual abuse, alright? Okay, sorry, this is just my pet peeve. Sorry, I'll get Shotaday night fever off that.
Well, I mean, I think that's like part of it too is like, what is it? Like, because it's like a fantasy space or whatever, it's like, it's not it's not necessarily something that you enter as, I guess, yourself or whatever, right? Like something like that. I mean, like, I guess you could imagine yourself being yourself watching the thing happen, but if you're self-inserting as like one of those characters, that seems different to me.
Yeah.
Like, or like, I don't know, like, I think it's the same with stuff like, I don't know, like just like improbable situation type, like pure fantasy stuff where it's like, you know, something like watching something where you're self-inserting as the character being choked to death. And I think probably a lot of people who might find that like hot in fantasy would not find that hot IRL. So
yes.
Like don't actually want that to happen. So I don't know. That's kind of how I think about it. I don't at the same time know how most people, even who like enjoy it, think about it. So I don't even feel like safe saying that's totally fine because whatever. But you know what I mean? It's like I don't really know what space it's occupying per se, and because you know what I mean. And I think sorry. All right. No, you go ahead.
So let's talk about this because I think this is interesting. Because I also, being the person I am, back when I was hanging out on a lot of like really like free speech places, like on the Fediverse and stuff, I had like I was pretty openly just like, if you have like the question you said about like, is lolly or Shota like harmful? Like the fact that exists, is that harmful? It's something that is like, neither answer is intuitive to me. It's a question that I have absolutely no idea on whatsoever. So I would just like kind of invited people like, hey, if you have any stance on this, just like message me or DM me or something. And so what I got out of that was I did hear a couple of stories about people that were just like as children like groomed by like various like lolicon communities on Discord, and I'm just imagining like that makes total fucking sense that would happen, right? But it's also, when I think about it more, it's like that happens in like furry porn communities too, and that happens in like Roblox communities too. Like I really don't have any fucking idea what to make of it.
More on Roblox later, folks.
Yeah. And talking to a friend of mine who like does go to Comic-Con and like hangs out in the lolicon section there, and just like talking to them about like Carl's paper and stuff like this, they are the person I know that took the hardest line that like, yeah, I am scared of some of the people I'm around. Like I think they might fucking do some shit someday. And that also fucking doesn't surprise me, right? Like
that kind of thing doesn't surprise me, and that's kind of what I mean. But like, yeah, I don't know. I
It's-
will say,
yeah.
I do wish we had some MILFs in the other base Discord that I could groom, but
Some MILFs? Some
Yeah.
DILF? MILFs.
MILFs,
Yeah.
MILFs.
But
So if you're a MILF and you're looking to join a Discord community where you'll be groomed, you're like, hey, I'm not a minor, but I want to be groomed. Join our Discord. I would love to groom some MILFs.
I think I want to try and maintain a hard no grooming stance in our personal Discord.
It is Discord, so we're already kind of at a disadvantage.
It is, but I feel like, especially since I am now publicly talking about Shota and my support of it, I feel like I'm on edge and have to do what I can at least. I have to put like some visible effort.
That's all right. All right. No,
Could
I won't joke around about that.
Can I just like digress one more minute? I'm on like the main page for Vice, and it seems like at this point there is not really any meaningful difference between the kind of journalism that Vice does and like BuzzFeed or any other stupid fucking shitty in like air quotes news website. Because all like most of their headlines are shit like this: signs that you need a mental health break from work and how to ask for one. Ring Nation is Amazon's reality show for our surveillance dystopia.
Wait, this is that's literally BuzzFeed.
Weekly horoscope, August 15th to 21st. Daily horoscope, August 15th, 2022. Make pupusas like a chef at home. Yeah. It's really just basket case. What to buy at West Elm, according to our editors. Adam Conover talks Waypoint Radio through the Discovery Warner Bros. Merger. This comedian is playing the race card, but that's exactly the point.
Wow.
The coolest new drops this week, from Cabana shirts to keto cereal bars.
Well, they've gone from Gavin McGinnis cringe like edgelording to just being BuzzFeed.
Yeah. So yeah, this article about Carl Anderson is really like a standout of being kind of like the only semi-remarkable
piece.
Yeah, thing on here, because everything else is just sort of
or like thing that's referencing something remarkable.
Yeah, I mean,
the form of the piece, itself is like exactly what you'd expect.
Yeah, everything else is just like the best deals this week, from sex toy staples to personal fire pits. And then there's like a bunch of articles about Salman Rushdie hospitalized with serious injuries. Inshallah, you hate to see it. Also, this is funny. A nice joke: Italian winemaker defends Adolf Hitler branded wine.
We need that clip of like the Hitler bike.
Yeah, it's literally called Führer wine.
That's pretty base. Yeah, Tanner. Yeah, see, I mean, like, that's kind of what I mean, stuff like that. So I don't know. I mean, like, that's kind of the type of thing I guess I mean. At the same time, it definitely, the Anderson article definitely makes me a little uncomfortable. I'm not gonna rip into it in like a stupid way, but I think it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I am interested in like seeing or like reading it, but I haven't actually read it yet, so I don't really know what's on it. But,
I posted it in the Discord along with sort of the various things I'm
Nice.
referencing here.
Nice.
Because I did save it.
I'm gonna go pee. I'll be back in a couple minutes.
Okay.
So was it actually, I mean, like, beyond like theoretically defending it, was it actually interesting to read?
I thought it was. I did have exactly one friend that was like wanting me to explain more. Basically, what I thought was kind of interesting about it was exploring like the sort of the way that like porn and like erotic works can like have an additional power to them, I guess. Like, I wanted to read sort of this part where it's like, The examples above, with stories from a past childhood, were believable to me, as in, quote, that could have happened. And that made those doujinshi good, but more often, very young boy characters would greedily jump over the first cock that presented itself. That too worked for me. If the boyhood stories enhanced a sexual curiosity that was there from the start in the typical pubescent boy that the characters were modeled on, these other stories pasted an overly virile sexuality onto characters that would not be sexual to start with. Maybe one of the thrills of creating your own doujinshi is that you can mend reality in such unbelievable ways. This relates to, quote, the thrill of customizing someone else's characters as one likes. Just like seeing how I don't know, I thought
Yeah, no, I
this
think
was
that was
interesting. I
yeah,
like
I agree.
transgressive art like this.
Yeah,
And
yeah, but I mean, it's not
yeah.
just and this is not what you're saying, but like, it's not just that it's transgressive, right? I think that's an interesting point,
Yes, exactly.
and I think it's well said. I feel like I mean, I guess I kind of was curious about it partly because I do feel like he's like, asking to get like piled on with like that abstract that he like in the article.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
So part of me is kind of like, all right, like, I mean, you know, like on like this Vice article is like so dumb and like exactly just what
Yeah.
typical like no content, like how can we like use what stupid like, you know, language of the day is expected when we write about anything while still being titillating and appealing to people's like perverse interests, right? Because they're still writing about it and giving it exposure. So at the same time, he's kind of also doing that with that abstract, which so I kind of like, it would be kind of, even if it's like dog shit, I kind of just want to see it just because I want to see if he like actually does anything with it or if he's just like being a like jerk off or whatever. Like pun, I guess, intended. But like, yeah, I don't know.
With the paper?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I assume he wasn't just because you said it was like worth reading, but
I liked it, and I have friends that both liked it, and I have plenty of friends that thought it was stupid. So, I don't know. That's fair. You might not like it. I did. Like, I also always kind of have like the this like background interest in it about how exactly this stuff is viewed in Japan because it's insanely unintuitive to us. Like I watched this us as Americans, I mean, because I remember watching like this anime that was called Working, which is just like this group of like high schoolers that work at like basically a Friendlies, just like a really goofy Western family restaurant.
like
And it's
told me about that.
yeah, and it's just like this ensemble comedy kind of thing where you know, light jokes, slice of life kind of stuff. But there's like a running joke that like the main character in it is kind of shy, but thinks like little girls are really cute. In a way that, at least as far as I watched, seems like innocuous. He just thinks they're cute. But all of his coworkers just think he's a pedophile. But also shrug it off, right? Like the way I have talked about it is that like they treat him being them thinking he's a pedophile the same way that like an aughts teen sex comedy would treat like a guy they think is gay but hasn't come out, right? So it's just like if they ever say like, wait, you're not a pedophile? And he's just like, no, of course I'm not a pedophile. They just kind of look at each other and shrug, and you're just like, well, we really thought you were a pedophile. Yeah, okay. And it's just like, how does that fucking fly? Because that would be the edge. That would be like a South Park level, like edgy joke here, right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny you mentioned the phrase teen sex comedy because that has like not really been a thing in America recently, but that was a huge thing in America. In like the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah.
You know, like part of what's funny is like we went from like not evaluating like, hey, like teenagers are hot to just being like, what do you mean? Like teenagers aren't, like, we know there was like, supposedly I feel like the current like posturing is that we're like in an era of contemplating these things more deeply, but really we've just gone to being really embarrassed about it. It's like we had post-nut clarity about like watching Never Been Kissed or something, and like we're like the main character in Never Been Kissed is a reporter who's playing a high schooler who like falls in love with her teacher, and then her
Lord.
teacher sort of falls in love with her, and then like she sort of, her like boss says, you gotta like write a story about how he's like dating kids, and then she doesn't, but then they end up together in the end, and it's like, that would not fly today. But like, you didn't like go from, I guess, investigating whatever like sexual fantasy like kind of slash like just comedy is in that sort of premise. We didn't go like from not talking about that to like being like, that was kind of interesting. We were just like, what? Nope, that's wrong. No, we never did that.
Well,
And it's kind of like funny. I mean, and I think that's like a good example, because to me that's like a much more obviously, and there's plenty of like anime that's like this too, where it's like a fairly innocuous kind of thing that's like kind of awkward and like definitely not a situation that you'd want to see in real life, but like it's comedy or like interesting or like compelling on screen because you're like entering the sort of fictional space as a fictional space and as like a place to like kind of be multiple people at once, right? You can like watch Never Been Kissed as and that's part of the point, right? In Never Been Kissed, it's like a rom-com. She's entering the space of the high school both as her current adult self and as her high school self, right? And like, that's interesting. That's interesting because it like invites the viewer to do the same and kind of think about these things and think about things like fantasizing about your teachers. And in some sense, we're actually like invited, for example, to think about like, like fantasizing about your teacher in a like more harmless way in that movie, for example, because she's actually not a student, she's an adult. There's nothing wrong if he knew that she was an adult with him being into her, and would not be anything illegal or, again, if he like knew that and stuff. And in the end, that's how it turns out, right? Like you get this like completion of that like fantasy. But you get this
Completion, I'll say.
Yeah, you do. Oh, yeah, but you get a completion of a fantasy which actually is about being the student and in a fucked up power dynamic, right? And it turns out to be okay because it actually does literally turn out to be a fantasy in the movie. That's kind of interesting. I don't know. And like, that's the kind of thing that's like interesting to talk about, but it's also like, I get why people don't want to talk about it. It's really uncomfortable. And of course, like the 90s and 2000s, like teen sex comedy got around it by just not talking about it. No one talked about it or worried about it. Everyone was just kind of like, I guess, enjoying that aspect of it. And then at some point we kind of started recognizing, I guess, culturally that there's like fucked up elements of that. And then we just switched over to not making movies like that and like also not talking about it.
Well,
Now,
I mean, I think like a funny thing about like the difference between like the way that like teen media was like made in like the 2000s, like the 90s and 2000s versus now. It's like something that I think about a lot is that like it seemed like in the 90s and 2000s it was a lot more common for people to just cast actors who are very obviously like legal adults in teen roles. Like everybody who was in like Scream or Not Another Teen Movie
it was clearly
was clearly like or like 27 or something like that. So it like created this like weird I don't know, like cognitive dissonance where it's like you'd have like somebody who was like 25 playing like a 17-year-old. But
no, that too.
I think like the funny thing is that like now where they actually like have like it seems like the trend is like they're like casting like people who are like actually the same age as their characters. But and maybe this is just specific to the one person, but the thing that I was thinking about is that like you have this like weird dynamic now where like you're telling like similar types of stories but with actors that are actually like of those age. And there's like still like a degree of kind of like I don't know if you want to call it like fetishization or sort of like I don't know. The main thing that I'm just thinking about is like how like it's sort of like the response to like Millie Bobby Brown's character in like Stranger Things, because she's like very like a middle schooler playing a middle schooler, and yet Drake and a lot of other people are just like, damn, she looking pretty good. And it's
Jesus Christ.
well, so I mean, I think that's kind of the funny thing now too, is like I feel like
so it seems like it like I guess like my point is that it like backfired in a weird way.
We're still or
something.
Yeah, well, that's because it was never sincere, the desire to actually interrogate this. It was virtual signaling.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, for example, Euphoria, I'm sure you're thinking about that while you're just talking about it. Euphoria is a great example of this. It is still like now it's a teen sex tragedy or whatever, but like it's still all about the teenagers like being hot and having sex with each other, but we talk about it as like gritty or something, or I don't know, like I haven't watched much Euphoria. It's like kind of too stressful of a show for me. I mean, honestly, I kind of like more slice of life chill stuff, and it's just so stressful. And it feels like the stress is there because otherwise, if you weren't stressed out and like seeing these kids suffer, it like if it wasn't a morality tale, both about
You would
these
just
kids
like the
suffering for
viewer
having
would just like want to
teenage
fuck
sex.
them or something.
Yeah. Like it's well, the viewer is supposed to want to fuck them because it is like trafficking in like their sexuality. It's literally about
Yeah.
their sex lives and stuff in a
Yeah.
very like, I mean, like Euphoria is not like a it's funny because it's not it's like very like spectacular, right? It's like
Wasn't
very much
Euphoria
a
also like
spectacle.
originally like an Israeli
right?
TV show?
Probably, I think so. Yeah.
Whoa.
Damn, wow.
But like
Oh.
it's like about it's like very prurient, right? And like I think it's also weirdly like trying to be a morality tale by being so stressful and like having them like suffer and stuff in all these ways and be fucked up individuals, but like it's very prurient and it's like not in that sense different. It's just that instead of laughing about it, we're like getting stressed about it. And I feel like that's like a very, very, very appropriate like I guess like show to like sort of embody the change from the teen sex comedy to like the teen sex thriller or tragedy or whatever that we have now to like sort of I guess represent our like perceptions of sex and of our like memories of adolescence and like the like boundary between adolescence and adulthood or whatever, which now is like all about like this weird alienation and like kind of change and stuff that like no one can quite tell you when it happens. It's definitely bad to have an age gap, this or that, but at the same time, there's no rules that make any sense. It's like no one really has anything sort of clear to say about it because it's all sort of blurry and depends on like the individual and stuff, right? But it's like instead you either get people not talking about it or people being like, damn, you have a 2-year age gap. You're like she's 20 and you're 18. That is so fucked up. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like that's clearly bullshit. At the same time, it's like no one wants to talk about it more subtly because then you get like accused of being some kind of pervert or something like that.
Yeah,
People who
like,
do want to say that like
me.
Yeah.
a 2-year age gap is like harmful.
I mean, I feel like the sort of like weird aesthetic difference between like a contemporary show like Euphoria and like I don't know, like late 90s like teen sex comedies or like early to mid 90s movie like Gregoraki movies is like there's like this weird thing, I guess. It's sort of like I feels like it's indicative in this like weird shift in like what the dominant mode of sort of like what's appealing in like youth culture is across like that time period. Because it's sort of, and I'm saying this just as being like someone who's had to deal with like a lot of like as like a like someone who worked as like a teaching assistant for a while and had to deal with like a lot of like non-binary zoomers with names like Leaf and Stick and stuff, is that it seems like we've shifted away from like we're in this like weird moment right now where the accumulation of trauma and like the purely sort of like negative sense is sort of like what seems to be appealing to like a lot of young people now, like who has like the most sort of like I don't know, like weird disabilities and or not I won't use the qualifier weird, but the people who have like the most sort of who are like the most like traumatized or the most like disabled or whatever is sort of like seen as being sort of like the most valid at this point, whereas sort of like I don't know, when I was like a teenager, the thing was to still sort of like accumulate all of these like fucked up and traumatic experiences, but doing that was like seen as being kind of like cool or like made you more interesting or something like that.
It
Where
made
it's
you
like
stronger.
Yeah, like it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I took like a bunch of like chlorocidins and threw up a lot and then just had like a fever dream. And my parents like had a like panic because they thought that I was dying and like took me to like the emergency room, and that was just the funny way that I spent this weekend or something like that.
Right. That's like my friend who like in high school we had a thirsty Thursday and we got really drunk and then he like was just like so clearly about to vomit in math class that I took him to the bathroom and he puked everywhere and I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah, this kicks ass.
And he was always just completely gone off of like Percocets at like house parties and stuff. And like I was like, man, he's I wish I could be that cool, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
exactly. I was like,
Yeah.
man, I don't really feel like, I don't know what a Percocet is. I don't really feel like taking that, but you know, maybe there's some way that I could be as cool as him.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be. I think that was a
Yeah.
great time.
Yeah, it's
Can I say? Oh, I just want to say one last little topic here, and then then you all can run with it. All right. So this is like an actual interview that Vice had done with Carl Anderson a while ago, because I might be burying the lead a bit to say that Carl Anderson is the person that did Destroyer magazine, and if you're not familiar with Destroyer magazine, it is like. Yeah, it was like explicitly trying to get like show the beauty of like teenage boys. I don't want to talk too much about it because I have my own opinions on it, but they start fights. Whatever. So they interviewed him about a related thing called Breaking Boy News, which sounds like both by far like the sketchiest thing he did, but also not necessarily sketchier than anything fucking like Dennis Cooper does in his blog. So I don't really know. But at the end of it, he says they like ask him some questions that I thought were interesting. And they say, how would you explain your magazines? A lot of people would say they appeal almost exclusively to pedophiles, which obviously isn't a good thing. I do my thing, and I'm used to people disapproving. It's funny how it's totally okay, even the norm, for a teenage girl to pose in a sexy way on magazine covers, but as soon as it's a boy, people gets upset. Why's that? I think it's the homosexual eye that scares people. A man looking at a boy with a possible sexual interest provokes an instinct to protect society's most valuable. The ancient Greeks had sex with boys, but the boy had to stand up during the act. If he lied down, he would be degraded to the role of a woman. So the current will to protect boys from being treated as sexual objects actually has quite misogynistic roots. I will say Carl can certainly also be a ridiculous person.
Way to turn it around, though. Way to turn that language around.
Yeah, I literally was
really
like
fun.
looking for like a Dennis Cooper quote to read about that, because he has like in sort of like a capstone to like what I said, that was basically just sort of like along the lines that like the pursuit of life should be like the accumulation of sort of like emotionally like extreme situations or something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah. I also like this one thing you said. I don't personally like the word boy lover, since it implies that there are people who don't love boys. I think that's hilarious. But a direction I wanted to go with this was oh my god, who's talking to me? He's like a faggier Werner Herzl. I don't know what that's about. I was wondering if that was Carl. Another thing I wanted to write about was like, I do think that this gay thing matters, especially with if we're talking about comics, because this thing is about comics, right? Mm-hmm. So there are two people, I'm not sure how much you know, Mike Diana versus Dwayne B. Tinsley. So Mike Diana is a person who drew a lot of like comics that are like super crudely drawn, basically of like children with erections like stabbing each other, and it's like really clear that it's supposed to be this like kind of crazy satire. It's the least erotic shit I've ever seen in my fucking life.
Yeah.
You can go look it up on your own, but Boyle Angel, it is, I can't think of anything less erotic. But in 1991, a couple of Florida guys like went to his apartment because like somebody murdered someone and had copies of Boyle Angel around their house. And it ended up that he is, I think, like one of the only people or maybe the only person in American history that was like tried and found to be producing obscene work, and then was on probation, where it was illegal for him to be writing to draw until
recently.
Like quite fucking recently.
Like the last couple of years.
Has he started again?
fucking
Has he started again?
I'm not positive, but yeah, February 2020, 26 years after his sentence, Diana was removed from probation. So they fucking threw the book at him for drawing these comics, right? Which you
Yeah.
can say, honestly, fucking fine, whatever, I get it,
It
right?
could be, yeah, it's not the worst punishment, but that is, yeah.
So I want to talk about another comic that existed in the world. Chester the Molester, drawn by a person, Dwayne B. Tinsley. Is this gonna get us banned? But yeah, it's basically about this guy Chester who goes around molesting little girls.
Yeah, similar.
So
Yeah.
well, yeah, more or less. Yeah, the premise of the strip was a tongue-in-cheek take on a man, Chester, who was interested in sexually molesting women and prepubescent girls. The Chester cartoon showed many scenes in which the main character tricked or attempted to trick women and prepubescent girls into sexually compromising positions. So let's take a look at what happened to this guy versus Mike Diana, right? It's almost like if it wasn't clear, Mike Diana is gay and has like a lot of dicks in his work because he's gay. In 1984, Tinsley was accused of molesting his 13-year-old daughter, Allison, over a period of 5 years. He was convicted and served 23 months of a 6-year prison sentence before his conviction was overturned on the grounds that his conviction violated the First Amendment because it was based in part on his comic strip.
Wow.
During his incarceration, he continued dispatching news strips to Hustler from his cell to be edited by Edward Connell.
Yeah.
Which I just think is fucking crazy.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
craziest shit in the fucking world.
yeah, I think
right.
it's funny because at the same time, I feel like it's a bit of a red herring to like talk about it, like, because he shouldn't have gotten away with that, right? But that's not the same thing as saying that, like, you know, like you could flip it around and be like, obviously, like, I should be shot for watching Shota, and so should every lolicon, you know, right? Like, the double standard thing doesn't really resolve like where the line is, right? But it definitely is
totally.
double standard. Definitely.
Yeah, what I'm talking about is just that, like, I'm going back to the point of like having the entire like UK currently right now yelling at me that I fuck toddlers on Twitter, right? And just thinking about like what causes this outrage in people more or less, right?
Oh wait,
like
people
both of these.
wait, people. The majority of the people who are mad at you are from the UK.
Yeah.
Pedo country. Not as bad as Belgium,
Yeah,
but like their entire like public school system is based off of like systemic buggery. So, like they're basically like almost as bad as the Catholic Church.
One last really funny thing about all of these people that I want to say is that one person here, oh fuck, not this one. Well, someone was like yelling at me about liking Carl's paper, and also pointed at the fact that I have played a pornographic video game, Karen's Prison, a bunch, as just like an, oh, look at you, you fucking degenerate. And if you're not familiar with Karen's Prison, that is a game where you are just like the milfiest MILF that ever lived, going around and having a lot of sex, right?
So it's basically like the opposite of Leisure Suit Larry.
Yeah, right. You are just like the thickest woman imaginable, like just fucking prisoners, basically.
Wow.
And
awesome.
so it was really funny to me that we had gone from like comics are the same as CSAM to all porn is the same as CSAM almost to some of these people.
So
okay, I'm done. I've said what I wanted to say.
So it turns out that Euphoria is based off of an Israeli TV show. The Hebrew title is Ophoria, which is very funny to me. But it seems like the plot is basically
I'm gonna get some coffee.
But it seems like the plot is basically the same. Like it's basically just like a bunch of like high school people who are just like, oh, I'm sad that I'm horny. But so I just imagine it's like that happening while like just in the background you see like a Palestinian neighborhood just getting like blown up by fighter jets.
Yeah. Maria comments, comment more than hentai comic websites are crazy. Coomer's get incredibly beaten up about NTR. That is true. People get like traumatized. It's like, dude, that didn't really happen. Like, why do you care? Like, I don't know. It's like it's weird. People are nuts. At the same time, I feel like the Pornhub comment section is way friendlier than the YouTube comment section.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. We actually got comments on on our last stream, and I thought they were very funny because it's just German language, like spam bots. Let me.
Oh, we got some like Slavic language spam bots at one point too.
Yeah, so we've got on Mother Based episode 48, Christianarchy in the USA. What is it? Alles sehr schön, aber Zeus zusammen sein Numen 10 und 1, eine Warmth.online Brunette und ein andere Blondine. Es wäre unfair, wenn ich verwählen würde.
Damn, you're really gonna have to work on that German accent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna round you up once the Fourth Reich starts up again.
Oh, you mean America?
Yeah, which will be speaking German.
Spelled with America spelled with 4K.
With 3K.
Yeah.
4K. With 4K. Yeah, that's right. So what does that translate to? I assume you put that into Google Translate.
I actually did not. Let me hold on one second. I just assumed since it said online brunette und eine andere Blondine. I just kind
online
of
brunette.
Yeah,
online brunette. Maybe they were talking about me.
Everything very nice, but first, numbers 10 and 1 together, one brunette and another blonde. It would be unfair if I chose 4.
that could be about us.
Well, we don't. There are new blonde hosts.
What are you talking about? Like Dogstar's kind of blonde.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like a dirty blonde.
Yeah, and then there was another one from Magid Roni, which is only for fans over 18 year. Alles sehr schön, aber Zwist zusammen den Nummern 10 in 1. So it's basically like the same text, only slightly different wording for some reason. And different URL. This one is for verjuan.online.
That's crazy. Yeah, we had a. I don't remember if I ran them through Translate, but we had some good spam comments. That like it was just multiple accounts. I don't get why you like have multiple. Like you go through the trouble of having like an army of different spam bots posting the same copy.
Yeah.
Right. Because like then it's like I don't know. It's like so like you see the same comment multiple places. Literally just like tweak it slightly, you know.
Yeah.
Like how it seems like it's more trouble to. I don't know, maintain a massive spam bot army than to like literally just do the type of tweaking you do when you're in high school and you're plagiarizing a paper.
Yeah.
Or Spark Notes or something. Just like do that 5 times. It takes like 30 seconds.
Totally.
You know, and then just have a few variations. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
don't know. So I don't know if Dogstar's coming back or if she's
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I'm done. I said my piece. Yeah.
All right. Well, should I show my can I show my my Roblox game?
Yeah, yes, please.
Yeah, go for it. Do whatever you want.
Do you play as a Shota character?
Yeah, you play as a Shotaday. The whole game is basically yeah, you basically like you're in like a Japanese style apartment and you basically have to avoid getting stuck in a dryer before your stepdad comes home. I haven't read like a lot of Shota, but I assume it's basically like the same plot as
the same.
It's like Pornhub incest videos.
Yeah, no one's talking about the fact that I think 70% of videos on Pornhub right now have the word stepsister in the title.
Yeah, literally.
It's fascinating. Yeah,
it's actually kind of insane. It's like, yeah, I don't know. But again, I mean, like I feel like like it couldn't be the case to me. Like, it could not be the case that, like, obviously there's like a lot of sexual abuse in like homes and stuff, and like
Yeah.
it's not that's like rare, unfortunately, at all. At the same time, it is impossible that anywhere near the percentage of people who are masturbating to stepsister porn are like actually like fucking their stepsisters or like
I mean,
step-siblings or whatever.
Well,
you know?
look, a lot of people don't have stepsisters. Like, I don't. So I feel like I can't even comment
That
on
too.
this.
Well, that too, and it's like, but like even there, it's like presumably a lot of people who are whacking off to it would also not fuck their stepsister if they had one either.
I
Oh,
have
can I say-
I have
I
three
don't know.
sisters, and I grew up in a very and my dad was a general contractor, and to cut a lot of corners as far as like both like taxes and sort of like paying for like how he built the house that I grew up in. Every room in our house has a washer and a dryer in it. And I never fucked any of my stepsisters.
Wait, is that true about the washer and dryer?
I wish that would be the funniest thing I'd ever heard. Okay, one last thing, just to show how, like, I feel like a thing I also forget when talking about this stuff is that I'm insanely desensitized to most things, so looking at Shota and thinking about it doesn't bother me at all. Which I think I forget that it does actually bother people for very legitimate reasons. And I do remember seeing a conversation on Veti in like the free speech zone, where a pedophile was confessing, like an actual pedophile was confessing, like, damn, you know, in theory, I'd love to fuck like a younger brother, but my younger brother is so fucking gross. He just like wipes boogers everywhere, and he's really fucking annoying. And I was just like, that's the funniest thing I've read, because it's like you have this weird fantasy and then you can't translate it to reality because you're like, oh wait, like little brothers are like
Disgusting.
fucking gross
They're fucking, like,
in real
little
life.
retards.
They're not little beautiful Shota boys.
So
Right?
what the feminist movement would teach us is not to fetishize and idealize youngsters and like think about them as like these perfect like little gods and goddesses who like have to be perfect, but instead you have to love them and fuck them, boogers and all. That's
Yeah.
the feminist thing to do.
Yep,
that's
that's
a
true.
joke. That's a joke.
No, it's not.
Wait, so wait.
No, wait. I do want to say to that though, that's basically how I feel about like wrecked videos. I've watched a really large number of industrial accidents, and they do obviously I do have like an emotional reaction to them, but I have like utter fascination with them, and I also just I am a very like reckless person, and I genuinely think that watching people just die in car accidents helps remind me not to be as much of a just absolute idiot driver slash
Oh, yeah,
reckless
totally.
person. So I don't feel entirely like it's maladaptive, but I'm really used to them. And I was just like, I was in Gate Chat, and like people were talking about like, I don't know, some like horrifying videos, I guess like ISIS videos or something like that. And I was just like, oh, I've definitely watched, and people were like, man, those are sickening. And I was like, oh, damn, I really watched a lot of those, and
Yeah.
very, very desensitized to that. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, not in the sense that they're not still like whatever sickening or whatever, but it's like, you know, I feel like I have like a more intellectual reaction to them.
And so on the other hand, in a very real way was traumatized the time that I stumbled upon a actual child porn ring on Twitter around a hashtag, because that hashtag was the same as a subreddit. The name of a subreddit I used to go down, find like mega upload links for downloading movies, like real movies. And it's still there. It's still up. And I found that, and I was like, fuck. I knew like the second I saw it, just like, there's not a single person I can tell that will actually be able to make this stop happening. Like, I did go and like try and file a report about it. It is still up. And that fucking haunts me that I saw that, because
that's
it's crazy active and it's horrifying.
Damn.
You found the one that's used, you know, by Bill Clinton and Associates. So they're
I
not-
guess.
Yeah, I think Dogstar found another child pornography sharing server on Instagram. She told me about it. I think it was called something like the GC.
Oh yeah.
So can I talk about my Whittle
Yeah, please.
Woblox game?
done.
yeah, please.
All right. So I think all three of us, we've spent some time in the Big Apple, in the Big
Yeah.
Easy in New York City. Well,
The
so this level that I
Big
made
Easy.
is a tribute to my favorite neighborhood in New York City. This is supposed to be my version of Hudson Yards. So
Love to kick it around there.
yeah, so if you'll see, there's like a bunch of half-built buildings around here. There's like a bunch of cranes. There's also a lot of garbage and food trucks, and also just like a lot of NYPD vehicles. And there's a McDonald's. There's a Starbucks. There's what I witnessed right outside of the mall in Hudson Yards is a BIPOC flag at half mast. But yeah, so we got a Starbucks. We got a bunch of NYPD vehicles. We got a bunch of billboards.
Got chicken over rice.
Yeah,
Is chicken over rice interactive? Can I order chicken over
Let's
rice?
see. I did not modify anything, so maybe. No, it does not
Well,
look like I. It does have the Supreme logo over the oven for some reason.
It'd be
Yeah.
I'm imagining Sylvia Plath wearing Supreme.
But
It's incredible.
But yeah, so we got some more garbage. We got a whole pile of garbage.
That's great. That's
we-
really good.
We got we got some more like
Was
sky.
that on purpose?
Was that
Oh, what?
was what on what?
Yeah. What are you talking about?
What's up?
Which one of you did the flash the new pride flag swastika arrangement?
That was me.
That was
Because
me.
one of the people who was yelling at me had posted it.
Wow. So yeah, we got another
pretty
Starbucks. But so the sort of like the central thing of like what I wanted to bring to Roblox is the vessel. Do y'all remember the vessel?
I remember that.
Remember it? I killed myself off it.
Well, unfortunately, you can't do that IRL anymore. But guess
No,
what?
liberals,
But guess
snowflakes.
where you can do
Back in
that.
my day, you could go right to the top and fling yourself off.
Yeah. Well, guess where you
You
can
snow what,
guess where you can still do that. Right here in
in this
Roblox.
obby. So it looks like it's a bit of an obby because it seems like a challenge to get to
Yeah.
the top.
Yeah, the
though.
vessel was an IRL obby, you could say.
That's so yeah. Well, now it's really an obby because they'll try to stop you.
Yeah. Well, not in my Roblox model of Hudson Yards. It's not like the platforms are not laid out the best because it's kind of difficult to plot those out.
So did you make this vessel?
I did not make the like outside part, but I did lay out all of these shitty ramps and platforms
Wow,
inside of it. This
that's
is
awesome.
this is why I don't talk all that much when we stream, is because I've been painstakingly putting all of these in for the last couple of weeks. But yeah, so yeah, you can come up to you know right on top. If you look like right over here, right on top of the Starbucks, we stand Ukraine strong, strong. Right at the Starbucks in Hudson Yards in Roblox. So we're up at the top. We're an Israeli teenager. We're here at the vessel with our families here on summer break from the IDF. And you know what? We just like can't really like deal with being confronted with all of this like shitty capitalist superstructure, this sort of like
Yeah.
this sort of like violently all
KKK.
these apartments over here are just like empty, but they're all owned by like Saudi princes as just sort of like
Yeah.
real estate investments that like obviously nobody actually lives in there. They just like pay several $1,000s in utilities every month to keep the lights on. So you know what? We've just had enough with all this. We're just gonna have to go for it.
Let's go.
And there we
Damn.
go. You
Yo,
hate to see it.
This is amazing. This is honestly, I saw
And
this a few weeks ago, and it's so good. I'm so impressed. It's really amazing. I would love to see like a version of this where cops try to prevent you from jumping off, and the point is to jump off 10 times to cause it to close down,
Wow.
like an actual obby. I wouldn't actually care if you implemented it. But if you did, that would also be really funny, and like see if you could if we could like do it like asymmetric multiplayer where like most of us are cops and you're just trying to run up. I feel like that would be a pretty fun streaming experience / just gaming experience,
Yeah.
especially with how the ramps function, which you should not change at all.
No, I need to
Yeah.
go back through and like I basically just like laid out like you know like sort of like the vessel is sort of like built in like fifths. It's like a it's like a it's actually a pentagon shaped structure, which don't think too much about that and why so many people want to kill themselves on it. But I basically laid out like 1/5 of the platforms and then tried to duplicate them. But I guess like the model that I downloaded is like not actually like 100% symmetrical. So like
It looks great.
I had like some issues with it.
This
Yeah.
is amazing. We should implement this in Halo's Forge modding tool.
Oh
And
yeah.
then we can get some like warthogs going up it.
Oh hell yeah.
Actually, I swear to God, the Halo 3, the last level kind of looks like the vessel when you're like running over all those platforms. and
I do
stuff.
have there's like a Dear Evan Hansen billboard and right next to an Amogus billboard over there. Oh yeah, and I'll show you this. Hold on one second.
Did
Let
they
me
ever,
get back
did
down
they ever
here.
do that? Were there any Amogus advertisements in New York? I assume that it went by word of mouth. But that would be pretty cool if there was like a gigantic Amogus advertisement where that like M&M like nut advertisement used to be around. Like,
There is this.
I'll show you
There's
some
also
M&M
this.
nut.
yeah, well yeah.
There's that.
The one like you remember like
Oh.
the Photoshop there. Whoa!
Sussy.
Yeah.
Sussy.
Sussy Baka.
Ooh, you look real sussy right now.
Ooh, I'm feeling sussy.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so this is my after all of the great Roblox episodes with Dogstar and her annoying
Max?
internet friends, I decided to make my own level, and here it is.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
Damn it, like. I know you like did like 1/5 of this and then kind of rotated it. I'm still just impressed with like the number of panels.
So many. Yeah, it's like 8 levels also.
Yeah, and I just like I mean like I'm sure that once if A you were using like a really good tool like 3D modeling tool and B you were like a real expert like 3D modeler, you could like bust something out like this like fairly quick, but like at the same time like you were using like the Roblox editor, which I don't imagine is that ergonomic. I'm sure it's like good because people do a lot of stuff in it, but like yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm super impressed by this and all the ceramics too.
Yeah, people usually do that work in, I think Blender and Maya are your two options.
Well, so like
And
the,
then-
so like the
yeah.
issue that I ran into is that like you can import you can make really good models in Blender, but the issue with importing it into Roblox is Roblox has like a much I think they have like a much you can only have I think sort of like at the most like 1,500 polygons or something for like whatever model you import.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I need to get better at figuring out like how to mediate like getting like more complex, because like obviously like this fucking cop car looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Right.
But just like I guess like sort of like the size of the stairs and shit in this model was just kind of like complicated, so I had to remove it all and just put in, and like the easiest option was to just do like fucking Roblox ramps.
Yeah. Well, I think I actually kind of like love that just because it like feels like a piece of like Roblox architecture.
Yeah.
I think it would be,
Yeah.
I think it would be a lot less like engaging, to me at least, if it felt like something that was just ripped from Blender.
Yeah.
Or like ripped from like, I don't know, not Blender specifically. Obviously, I'm sure you could do that aesthetic in Blender if you knew what you're doing, but like, you know what I mean? Like ripped from an asset catalog.
Yeah.
It really looks like something made like in Roblox, which is really funny to have the vessel be. This is nice. I like this. I like going up these stairs. We're in like the Saudi prince's lair.
Yeah.
That they don't.
Yeah, we are delivering their Uber Eats.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's
Oh, is that the Joker?
Oh, now what's this guy doing here? I don't like that one bit.
He's
just hanging out.
Just hanging out.
I dropped him in here because there is like you can kill yourself off whatever you want.
Joker
Just
fight.
like in real life.
Yeah,
just like
it's just like IRL. Joker fight Saudi prince with his BMW. Like, want to know how I got these cars?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wait, let me.
Oh boy.
Let me look up the like the one tweet that I dropped the Joker in there for. It's like Hudson Yards Joker.
Hello.
Hey.
Okay, so
Yeah,
sorry,
I'm
I
still
just
here.
I know.
looking-
Sometimes, yeah, we gotta cut out the dead air. I'll just start farting whenever.
yeah.
Please do not
you
do
used.
that.
I thought that was the point of why you burped and farted so much. Damn. Oh, she's gassy. Oh, see. I know. Jan was asking me like if that ass farts, and we weren't sure. Now.
It do be
Wait,
farting.
Lollit, I only just noticed your hoodie. Which flag is that?
That is the fuck, what's the one where you like think that you're like a reincarnation of like a fictional character?
Otherkin?
Yeah, it's the Otherkin flag.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I dropped the Joker in there because there's this really I'll throw this into obs real quick. But so there's this really, I've actually seen this sculpture in real life. It's this really like obscenely ugly looking sculpture, and like the art gallery in the mall in Hudson Yards that's just like the Joker covered in like graffiti.
It's so good.
And a while back, like somebody tweeted this $1 zillion estimate LOL Joker sculpture I saw in an empty Hudson Yards art gallery this afternoon was so swag. Picturing a rando depraved chic in his 10,000 square foot penthouse, chilling next to it, eating Shake Shack, watching fools jump off the vessel all day.
That's the dream.
And that's exactly like the vibe that I'm trying to capture in my Roblox game.
If I was a chic, and I would do that, I would buy one of these. Or I would just I assume the chic was dressed up as the Joker and doing the want to see how I got these cars type thing.
Yeah.
But I think I even like it better, the idea of him buying a Joker statue. That's really amazing. It's also more accurate. I do actually feel like this is exactly the quality of art that you like buy if you have like $1 billion.
Yeah.
And by
just like it's
the evidence is that this is what you buy.
Yeah, I just love it. Imagining it just like it's right next to two like other Joker statues done by Cause, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. You want to know how I got these cause?
Oh boy.
Wow. Yeah.
It's so funny that Westworld is still on TV, and I don't think anybody's.
Really?
Yeah, apparently the 4th season concluded this today, like just
Wow.
now.
I haven't heard a soul talk about it.
Yeah. I feel like
Apparently,
that's one of
Aaron
those-
Paul is in it, which is also very funny.
Oh, wow. I feel like
Yeah.
that's really one of those shows that's like very typical of the like just talking zero like mouth breathing like lib masses type vibe where it's like, or I don't know, maybe it was, but like just like people were talking about it like, wow, this is so cool, and then I feel like that type of person just instantly forgets about that as soon as like the next like Avengers movie comes out.
Yeah.
Like they like get into things, but there's like no actual like connection to anything or like depth or anything that would be like engendered by actually engaging with the work, and so they just could just forget about something like this and not be like, man, it really fell off. Like I don't feel like I heard anything about like Westworld fell off or like Westworld's like still going strong. I just
Like no one
I
even
feel like
really cares.
everyone-
It's just like keeps getting made, and I don't think anybody really cares about it that much at all.
I just don't get why these people like they will ask you if you've seen a show and then like say you should watch that show, but like to them it's like me when I get a bunch of like cheese dippers and I bake them and I like just shove them into my mouth while we're streaming.
Well,
I, like,
hold
do it
on.
because it's like something to do that like gives me some amount of like I guess like serotonin and like dopamine, and I like would never like say to someone else like you have to try these cheese dippers, and I just forget
Yeah.
about them after. You know, it's like
So, yeah, I feel
I
like you might be
actually-
in.
Oh, sorry.
You might be interested in Bree's comment here, where she says Westworld has a cool, only made for TV, unique version of a break action Lemot revolver.
huh.
Well, I'm sorry, I tried.
What's Lamont Revolver? Is that like a movie or something that's like actually more interesting?
I couldn't. I don't know. I figured that was
I think
some
she's
gun
literally
nerd thing.
talking. Yeah, that sounds like a gun. I think she's literally.
Well, see, when you were talking about the Ghost in the Shell Galgrees guy, I thought you were a gun
he's a
nerd, but I
cool-
guess you're not. I guess you're not,
Cool,
actually.
Only made for TV, unique version of a break. Okay, I totally misread the syntax of that sentence entirely. I still don't know what a Lamont Revolver is, but that I will look that up.
It's
Ooh,
because
fail.
it's because it's like not a weapon that can destroy an entire village, which is probably why you're not interested in it. It's only capable of killing at most one person at a time.
Okay, all right, yeah, that is some gay shit with which you can miss me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can find a pate version of this guy.
It was also first used as the service revolver of the Confederate States of America.
There's buckwheat cakes and Indian batter. Makes you fatter, a little fatter. Look away.
Look away.
No one is. Some people have written profiles of a hypothetical Apate Lamont revolver, but no one has drawn one.
That's you already know that the main Upote base is like probably like super racist, like
Yeah.
mission types, who like exclusively jack off to like Lolicon, but like
Mhm.
I'm sure that like the most extreme racist of those are the ones who are making like the Lamont like revolver girl. That's awesome. I hadn't even thought of that. Wait, hold on. I wanted to put on. Actually, I'll do this for our outro. So I'll play this when we're doing the outro.
Yeah. But yeah, I honestly like. I feel like I think the last good show that HBO made was probably like The Leftovers, and everything that they have made, and I guess like the last like 5 years has broadly been. I don't know. I guess it sort of goes back to my primary belief that like as funny as Donald Trump was, he was basically just sort of like a net negative for popular culture, because everybody in like show business thought that that like what they were producing had to be like an explicit reaction to Donald Trump, which just made everything awful.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly how that happened with like Westworld, but Westworld existed in that time period and was
It was read
never
through that lens.
very interesting to me. But I mean, like the Watchmen show was bad and cringe. Yeah. The Wife Maiden Tale, also very bad and boring looking.
God, the Handmaid's Tale was unbelievably like embarrassing looking. I feel like that was a real like L for women type show.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I was arguing with somebody about this a while back. The best way to have made like an adaptation of The Handmaid's Tale would be if they'd let either like, what is that? Who's the dude that made Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown?
Oh, Cassavetes?
No.
Oh, I was thinking of Woman Under the Influence.
Pedro Almodovar. They should have either let John Waters or Pedro Almodovar make. They should like basically like the only way that The Handmaid's Tale would be good would be if it was really like campy and made by a gay man. Like that would have been like interesting, but like they basically just sort of made. I mean, it seemed like the target audience for like The Handmaid's Tale were like women who like secretly wished they had experienced like sexual violence at some point.
Yeah, it was. It actually. It was literally a Shotaday for
for like Hillary stands.
For mid Hillary stands.
Yeah.
Self-insert Shotaday.
Yeah.
Peace.
All right.
But highly recommend the movie Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown if you actually want to see a very good feminist film.
No, that sounds already like a. I feel like I've definitely heard of that. Yeah. Thank you for the rec.
Actually, a weird sort of like synchronicity with that and like I guess like Euphoria is that part of like the plot of Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown involves like one of the characters gets seduced by like a guy who's part of a Shiite terrorist cell. And she's just like, oh yeah, sure, you can stay at my apartment in Madrid. And when like and she like goes out, and when she comes back, there are like a bunch of other Shiite dudes in her apartment that are literally just like loading that are just doing like weapons checks in her living room. And she's just like, sweetie, what's going on here? And he's just like, don't worry about it.
Damn, wish that was me.
Yeah. So what are we done? Are y'all done? It's 11:11. We should be done.
Yeah, I'm done.
All right.
I'm gonna make a wish for you to play the video I posted in chat. I don't know if you guys ever listened to this one, but speaking of weapons that can demolish a whole village, I've been listening to this week again, and just this song goes so hard. It's really perfect encapsulation of, I think, American Death Drive. Have you guys heard this one?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Uncommon Valor by Jedi Mind Tricks.
Oh, no.
Wait, can you share the YouTube so we can see it or hear it?
I'm playing it in Discord.
Oh, nice.
Can you hear it?
Very
No.
roughly.
Hold on one
Can
second.
you open it in YouTube so we could like both hear it too?
Fine.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm over here. This job is evil. They send me here
Yeah,
to
like,
Vietnam
the
to kill
Rugged Man,
innocent
in
people.
addition
My
to
mother wrote me,
being
said the president, he
disgusting,
doesn't care. He trying to leave the footprints of America here. They say we're trying to stop Chinese expansion, but I don't know why I'm over here. This job is evil. They send me here to Vietnam to kill innocent people. My mother wrote me, said the president, he doesn't care. He trying to leave the footprints of America here. They say we're trying to stop Chinese expansion, but I ain't seen no Chinese since we landed. Sent my whole entire unit thinking we could win against the Viet Cong guerrillas there in Jigaden. I didn't sign up to kill women or any children. For every enemy soldier, we killing 6 civilians. Yeah, and it ain't right to me. I ain't got enough of motherfucking fighting me. It frightens me. And I just want to see my son and moms. But over here, they dropping 7 million tons of bombs.
Katie says, turn it up. She wants it louder.
It's
So
episodic
do
when I
I.
go.
Louder.
And I'm forced to sit back and wonder why I was a part of Operation Rolling Thunder. In the foxhole with 9 months left here. Jungle like the fucking harbinger of death here. I don't wanna be here. I'm scared. I just wanna go home. You fucking get me. Don't be a pussy. Love your country. I like being here. True story. I'm ready.
Call me Thorburn, Sean A. Staff Sergeant, marksman, skillin', killing, illin'. I'm able and willing, kill a village elephant, raping and pillage a village, illegitimate killers, U.S. military guerrillas. This ain't no real war, Vietnam shit. World War II, that's a war. This is just a military conflict, soothing, drug abusing, Vietnamese women screwing, sex, gambling, and booze, and all this shit is amusing. Bitches and guns, this is every man's dream. I don't wanna go home where I'm just an ordinary human being. Special op, Huey chopper, gun shit, run shit, gook run when the minigun spit, won't miss, kill shit, spit 4,000 bullets a minute. Victor Charlie hit trigger, hit it, I'm in it to win it, get it. The lieutenant hit it, the villain I been it, the killing I did it, crippled did it, pictures I painted is vivid, living a wizard with weapons, a secret mission, we about to begin it. Government funded behind enemy lines, bullets is spraying, it's heating up 100 degrees. The enemies, the North Vietnamese, bitch please, ain't no sweat, I'm totally at ease. Until I see the pilot got hit, and we about to hit some trees. Taylor Road to Pro Crash Land, American man, Cambodia, right in the enemy hand. Take a swig of the whiskey to calm us. Them yellow men wearing black pajamas, they wanna harm us. They all up on us, bang bang. Bullet hit my chest, feel no pain. To my left, the captain caught a bullet right in his brain. Body parts flying, loss of limbs, explosions, bad intentions. I see my best friend's intestines. Pray to the one above, it's raining, I'm covered in mud. I think I'm dying, I feel dizzy, I'm losing blood. I see my childhood, I'm back in the arms of my mother. I see my whole life, I see Christ, I see bright lights, I see Israelites, Muslims and Christians in peace, no fights. Black, white, Asians, people of all types. I must have died, then I woke up surprised I'm alive. I'm in a hospital bed, they rescued me, I survived. I escaped the war, came back, but ain't escape Agent Orange. 2 of my kids born handicapped, spastic, quadriplegia, microcephalic, cerebral palsy, cortical blindness.
What's so funny to you?
Died, he ain't live, but I still try to think positive, cause
really
in life,
good.
God take, God give.
For press use only. Baby Grand Record.
Can I play one more
It's
song?
just- oh yeah. I just want to say I love that song because it's like, I like how they have like the guy who's like, this is so fucked up, and the second guy's like, I like being here, don't be a pussy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just, like, and then he like has this moment of redemption, and then like turns out that like the U.S. government like permanently like crippled him and killed his kid through Agent Orange exposure. Which
Whoa.
it's just it's a really good song. Like
Yeah.
and, like his flow is so good and the beat's great.
I want to play this song called Flatline by B.O.B., which is initially released on SoundCloud in January 2016. It is a diss track aimed at physicist Neil deGrasse Tyson, whom he had gotten into an argument with on Twitter over B.O.B.'s stated belief that the Earth is flat. In addition to dissing Tyson and expressing belief in a flat Earth, the song's lyrics also include other conspiracy theories, including Holocaust denial, mirror lizards, and the belief that Freemasons are indoctrinating young people. The lyrics refer to the song refer to science as a cult. All right, well, you can't be right all the time.
Yeah, you ain't seen my best. Checkmate in a game of chess. Globalists see me as a threat. Free thinking, got the world at my neck. Ha! Am I paranoid? Picture Malcolm X in a room full of pigs trying not to bust a sweat. Ayy, Neil Tyson need to loosen up his vest. They probably write that man one hell of a check. Ayy, I'm over here on this side of town. Come on over here, try to clown. Ayy, I'd never pipe down if they weren't coming for me. Then they definitely coming for me now. I can't even keep my phone charged up. All the shit I'm talking, I should get my own barred up. Rappers, get off of my dick and get your own bars up. Vladimir and Liz's breath got the clone skirt, cuz use your common sense. Wise NASA Park Department of Defense, they divided up the seas into 33 degrees, feeding kids masonry, bro, be careful what you read. Flatline, flatline, there's no superior bloodline. Flatline, flatline, you got me once, but that died. Ayy, voice, do I have a voice? Do I give a fuck? Do I have a choice? Joint, I rolled up a joint, keep my shooters in the game like I hate to disappoint. I see only good things on the horizon. That's probably why the horizon is always rising. Indoctrinated in a cult called science, and graduated to a club full of liars. Heliocentrism, you were the sixth victim. Fuck you and your team, you can sit on the bench with them, they nervous. But before you try to curve it, do your research on David Irving.
Whoa.
Stalin was way worse than Hitler. That's why the police gotta wear a kipper. I'm a man first for an artist. Did a lawyer look up Dr. Richard Sauter? Bounce. Flatline. You fooled us for the last time. Flatline. Is no superior bloodline.
Yeah, this is great.
So you want to find the farthest point from that center. And it turns out sea level at the equator is farther away from the center of the Earth than sea level near the poles. It has nothing to do with global warming and melting of the ice caps.
Why is that?
Because Earth, we know it spins once a day. Yes, thank you. 3 people know that how long
Neil
it lasts.
deGrasse Tyson is a moron.
Yeah, this is basically just like, yeah, it's this like song ultimately just feels like a shit coding of like thinking that like Neil deGrasse Tyson sucks.
Throughout its life, even when it formed, it was spinning, and it got a little wider.
Like basically saying like, if you think that Neil deGrasse Tyson is like a fat pussy, you also are like an anti-Semite that thinks like the Earth is flat.
But not only that,
This is true.
it's slightly wider below the equator than above the equator.
A little chubbier.
A little chubbier.
Yeah.
Chubby's a good word. It's like pear-shaped.
Yeah.
So,
Just like
it
Neil
turns
deGrasse
out
Tyson.
the pear-shapedness
Just like
is bigger than
like
the
a-
height of Mount Everest above sea level.
Bounce. Flatline. You fooled us for the last time. Flatline. Is no superior bloodline.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Yeah, that was good.
He's really dumb. He's I don't know. I mean, he's just yeah. Not great. I feel like he has that kind of weird there's like, I don't know what it is about like popular science figures getting popular by being like just the most crass type of like new atheist moron, but like he's that type of guy who like instead of talking about things in like a Carl Sagan like wonders of the universe type way, he just like is like, man, like look at all these dumb idiots who don't know that the Earth spins around once what was it once a day.
It's like Penn and Teller bullshit type, like, you know.
Yeah. I don't know. He like has a smugness to him, which like he's not even like he's not nearly smart enough to like, you know, someone's really smart and smug and like you think they're wrong, then they're like you kind of like hate them, but like he's not Quint or anything. He's like, I don't know, just kind of like a doofus. He's like, there's this other guy, Larry Krause at like University of Arizona, who's like the same. There's like a few of them. I don't know. This type of like pop scientist is like really, it's really disappointing. It's like there's so much like cool stuff you actually could talk about that is still made up by DoD, but at least it's cool. And they're just not communicating the DoD propaganda as well as my complaint as they could.
Well, yeah, I mean, also like I don't know. He's just like such like a gay nerd. I can't think of like a more generous way to put it.
No,
but
that's
like
part of what I'm saying. He's a doofus.
Yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson's like whole thing is just. I feel like his like whole like appeal is saying like dumb shit. Just like, well, everybody's actually made of like of stardust. And we're actually all like connected to the universe.
His best moments are when but I feel like he's got this like Carl Sagan, for example, was like much more enthusiastic and like I think sincere about these things and like sincere about like the sort of mysterious and like kind of interesting sort of spiritual aspects of this. Whereas like
Carl Sagan also had drip.
Yeah. And smoked weed, but like I don't know, Neil deGrasse Tyson's like a much more graceless version, and there's like some. It's also like disappointing that like Bill Nye the Science Guy became one of these guys because I like loved that show growing up, and then it's like he like kept the like annoying like bow tie, but like while trying to like dunk on people, you know, on like TV. As I don't know, that was shit. It's shit like that's disappointing.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm ready to be done with this.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Goodbye, everybody. Come back next week for something else.
something else.
Yeah. All right.